I'd never been the outdoors type. 31 years old, born and raised in Nashville, and the closest I'd ever come to nature was the park on Shelby Avenue, where I used to eat lunch on slow days. So when Kara suggested we go camping in the Smoky Mountains with a few of her friends, I said yes, mostly because I wanted to impress her. We'd been together 4 months, long enough to know she was different, short enough that I was still trying to be the version of myself I wanted her to see. Kara was the kind of woman who made everything feel deliberate. She didn't do things without a reason. When she suggested the trip, she had already mapped the trail, booked the campsite, coordinated with her friends, people I'd never met. Marcus, Delia, and a quiet guy named Tate, who smiled at me once the entire drive up and didn't say a word after. I remember thinking that was strange. I remember thinking a lot of things were strange and telling myself I was overthinking. We set out on the trail just after 8 in the morning. The Smokies were beautiful in a way that made you feel small, not uncomfortably, just honestly. The kind of beauty that doesn't care whether you're there or not. I kept pace with the group and said the right things and laughed when I was supposed to laugh. It was around noon when I fell behind, not intentionally. I just slowed down to retie my boot, and when I looked up, the trail had curved and the others were out of sight. I wasn't worried. The trail was marked. I'd catch up in 2 minutes. That's when I saw him. Off the trail, maybe 40 yards into the trees, a man was standing near the bank of a narrow creek. He was holding something. At first, I thought it was a large bundle. A pack, maybe, or a rolled sleeping bag. Then it moved slightly, and I understood it was a child. I called out toward the group ahead. Nobody answered. The trail was empty in both directions. I stepped off the path and moved toward the man, picking my way through the underbrush. As I got closer, I called out, "Hey, everything okay over there?" He didn't turn, didn't move, just stood at the water's edge with the child held against him, one arm under the boy's legs, the other around his shoulders. 20 feet away, I stopped. Something was wrong with the way he was standing. Something was wrong with the way the child was positioned. The boy's head was angled down and to the side in a way that no sleeping child's head angles. In a way that no living thing's head angles. "Sir," he turned then. He was tall, 6 feet, maybe more, gray hair, close-cropped. His face was, I don't have a better word for this, wrong. Not deformed, not scarred, just wrong in the way that a very good imitation of a human face is wrong. Too smooth, too still. Like something that had studied expressions without fully understanding what they were for. And he was smiling, not the smile of a man who'd been caught doing something, not the nervous smile of someone in a difficult situation. It was the smile of someone who had been waiting, someone who was pleased that the waiting was finally over. "Is he hurt?" I asked. The man said nothing. He tilted his head slightly, the way a dog tilts its head at a sound it finds interesting. I looked at the boy. He was maybe 8 years old, dark hair, wearing a red jacket. His legs were completely still. His arms hung. His head was wrong. I understood it and didn't understand it at the same time. The way your mind protects you for just a moment before the full weight of something lands. His head was tilted too far. It wasn't resting. It wasn't lolling. It was detached. The man was holding the boy's body, and the boy's head was only in place because the man's arm was keeping it there. I stepped back. Man's smile widened. "Don't be upset, Daniel," he said. His voice was calm and low and conversational, like we were discussing something mundane. "He's at peace." I helped him. The head rolled forward, hit the ground, came to rest against the toe of my boot. I don't remember making a sound. I don't remember deciding to run. I was just running, crashing back through the underbrush toward the trail, screaming for Kara, screaming for anyone. The trail was empty. Behind me, from the trees, I heard laughter. Not wild or frenzied, relaxed. The laughter of someone watching something they found genuinely amusing. I ran until my lungs gave out, stopping at a rocky overlook where I bent double and tried to remember how breathing worked. When I straightened up and turned around, he was there, except he wasn't the same. The gray-haired man was gone. What stood on the trail, 40 yards behind me, had pale skin the color of old bone, and hands that ended in black claws that curved downward like fishhooks. 2 curved horns swept back from its forehead. Its eyes were the same cold blue as the man's had been. And it was dancing. Not lurching, not charging. Dancing. Slow and deliberate, weight shifting from foot to foot, arms moving at its sides, grinning at me from across the distance between us. I held up my knife. I'd grabbed it from my pack without thinking. A 4-inch folding blade that felt, in that moment, like holding a toothpick against a freight train. "Stay back," I said. "My friends are close." It stopped dancing for just a moment. Looked at the knife with what I can only describe as affection. "What a knife," it said, in the same calm voice the man had used. "You want to try it? Go ahead. I'll wait." Then it started dancing again. I ran. I ran for a long time. Down the trail, off the trail, through clearings I didn't recognize, past creek crossings I hadn't seen on the way up. The sun dropped lower, and the shadows between the trees stretched and merged, and I kept telling myself that Kara was just ahead, that the campsite was just around the next bend, that this was going to end. It stopped me cold when I ran headfirst into someone on the trail and went down hard on the gravel. Easy. A hand gripped my arm and pulled me upright. I looked up at a man in a worn leather jacket, maybe 50, with the kind of face that has been outside in all weather for a long time. He wasn't hiking. He had no pack, no poles, no gear of any kind. He was just standing in the middle of a backcountry trail in the Smoky Mountains at dusk, like he'd been put there. "Something's chasing me," I said. "I know," he said. "You need to run." "Stay behind me, Daniel." I froze. "How do you know my name?" He turned and started walking, and I followed because there was nothing else to do. "I was sent to find you," he said. "Sent by who?" "That's a longer conversation. Right now, we need to move." "My girlfriend is out here," I said. "We have to find her." He didn't answer immediately. We walked in silence for a moment, the darkness thickening around us, the sounds of the forest shifting in ways I couldn't name, like the animals had gone quiet, and something else had taken their place. "What's your name?" I asked. I was given the name Eli. "Given?" "Yes." I processed that. "What was that thing back there?" "Old," he said. "Very old. It has many names. None of them matter much." "It killed a child," I said. The words felt strange leaving my mouth, factual and impossible at the same time. It did. "We have to call someone. We have to." "Daniel." He stopped walking and turned to look at me, and in the faint, ambient light filtering through the canopy, his expression was steady and grave. "Your girlfriend? How long have you known her?" "4 months." "This trip, whose idea was it?" "Hers." "The friends she brought. Had you met them before?" I didn't answer. "Think about the trail today," he said quietly. "Think about how far ahead they were when you stopped. Think about how quickly they disappeared. The cold that moved through me then had nothing to do with the mountain air." I thought about Kara's face when she'd suggested the trip. Not excited, exactly. Purposeful. I thought about Tate, who hadn't spoken to me once in 4 hours of driving. I thought about the way none of them had answered when I called out. The way the trail had been empty in both directions within minutes of me stepping off it. "They left me," I said. Eli looked at me without flinching. "They brought you here," he said. The forest around us had gone completely silent. No wind, no insects, nothing. Then, from somewhere back up the trail, maybe 200 yards, I heard the sound of something dancing, slow and rhythmic, boots on gravel, moving in our direction. Eli turned toward the sound. His posture didn't change. He didn't reach for anything. "Stay close," he said. "What do we do?" He didn't answer right away. The dancing sound grew closer, unhurried, patient. "We finish this," he said, and we walked toward it.